Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Apollo's Odyssey. I am back in my home today because the studio situation, there was a little more things we had to work out, so it actually is looking like that won't be started for probably won't be back in there till next week. So sorry about that, but I'm gonna have a great guest for us tonight. So let me bring him on here. Matthew,
Yeah, hi.
it's good to see you.
Hey, it's good to see you.
So it's been a while since the last time. Oh, do you have headphones on there
I,
by any chance? Okay.
yeah, I do. Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, there was just a bit of an echo. Okay.
Oh, well, I'm in a
Oh,
big
okay,
room.
it sounds good now.
Okay.
Awesome. So yeah, the last time we met I believe was at the event in Sedona. Oh,
Our,
we
s-
actually met the Ancient Aliens Clubhouse after that. But the Seven Seal Summit, I had an amazing time at that event, and it was really really fun. And it was amazing the people you brought together, and it actually opened a lot of doors for me. So I feel really grateful for it. And I believe the second time we met, which was the last time I saw you, was at the right after Doc Skinner's Disclosure Con. So
right.
yeah, it's been a while. It's probably been
Yeah,
about a year now.
right. We're doing another virtual summit together, April 22nd. You're a part of that. And we're also doing the Seventh Seal Summit Bridge to Light. That's in May 22nd. If people have an interest in that, they can check out seventhsealsummit.com. Mm-hmm.
So, what does the seventh seal mean again?
Well, it's something I channeled. I got one right here, actually. It came through from my higher self in like 1996. And this began as just a symbol when I was writing my book. I was tapping into all of my past lives. This is many years ago, about 33 years ago, when I was beginning to wake up. And So I must have been about 26 when this came through, and there continued to be like downloads as I went to Egypt the first couple times, pertaining to what the seventh seal was. I had a time traveler friend, a cosmic scientist dude that was involved in secret space programs. That's not what they called it back then. They called it white budget projects versus black budget projects. They were underground bases, and he was involved in one, and said that the symbol was a sigil of the Melchizedek order, and that it was on the entrance to the Hall of Records door. And so my quest to learn more about that continued as I had more experiences in Egypt. That was in 1998 and 99. And that's really when I was pouring through this information. It was just like flowing out of me. And I wrote 800 pages of a book called The Seventh Seal Hidden Wisdom Unveiled. And then about only 5 years ago, there was like a voice that told me to get a pen and draw this, and it just like channeled right through me. um, Came back in my head. There was a lot of voices back then. There was a time when they said, "Okay, we're done communicating with you like this." That was maybe 22 years ago, and that kind of communication opened up again 5 years ago to bring through the next level of the seal, and that had all this like other information that's not going to focus very well, um, with numbers and um, intention for activating wherever you're at. Essentially, it would work energetically on a quantum level to reorganize the frequency in your makeup, your molecular makeup, to the highest DNA version of yourself. And so, yeah, it's been an interesting odyssey, I should say, because my path and journey has been a myriad of bizarre things. Working with the new banking system back, we were going to launch in 2012. we had all the agency support. We had all these elders, Chinese money behind the scenes aligned into this system that we built. And we had a treaty with 102 countries to be this new financial system. And we were launching that in 2012 when everybody thought it was the launch of like the new earth and the golden age. We were prepared. And then, well, the cabal, as we call it now, the 1%, I was calling them the banksters back then. They reared
Banksters. I
the
like
bank.
that.
Yeah, they reared their ugly head and, arrested our top people, trumped up charges, and put that whole operation down. And since then, we've been working behind the scenes with a lot of key individuals, agency white hats and generals and top bankers and elders and super scientists and IT people and all kinds of people that are aligned for bringing forward the golden age. And we're very close with the pieces that we're involved with. So yeah, there's a myriad of things to talk about. Frankly, it's been a I chose to say the word odyssey because it's been loaded with, bizarre experiences. I don't know. Did I ever tell you that I went on board a spacecraft?
No, you didn't. How did that come about?
And that's something I haven't like come out with very much about because there was a time when if you would admit such a thing, it was like illegal, and you would be visited by maybe the men in black or something to say you're not I don't know, I'm not sure, because that didn't happen. What did happen is uh, I had this is like when I was 29, an opportunity to live with this woman who was saying, I'm going on board. I'm like, really? Well, how do you do that? She's like, well, I channel these beings, the Arcturians, and I talk to them, and, we have a rapport, and they bring me on board the mothership. I'm like, I want to go, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
of course.
I'd been seeing, anomalies and, whatever you want to say, supernatural stuff since I was a kid. And so, of course, to me, that was like, yeah, those are my people. That's cool. And what happened was I met this woman that I was describing and actually had an opportunity to live with her. And she was saying, okay, well, here's the process. And she got out this like angel Ouija board, it was all like flowers and wings, right? It was a positive Ouija board. And
I haven't heard of those. That's interesting.
I think it was homemade. And anyway, so we start, doing and I start spelling, the first word, and I go, it's going to take me a long time. I have like a whole sentence here. And she's like, grabs the board, chucks it aside. Well, that's what that was for. You're ready. What are they saying? This is the protocol to open your communication with the beings that you're connected with. And so I had like paragraphs forming, and I was communicating with these Arcturian beings that were saying how long we've been connected and all these kinds of things. And that led to, and I'm trying to decide how much to actually reveal here on a live program. But in essence, what happened next is that evening I carried on the conversation, and I was like, I'd love to come up there. Can you like bring me up there too? And I got woken up out of my sleep with, something on my chest going, wake up, wake up. And when I opened my eye, I was like, it was dark, and I was looking at a reflection of myself in a pretty big black eye, and I was like, and then the voice in my head was like, "It's fine, we're here. You asked, and so let's go." And I sat up in bed, and there was like another one standing at the foot of the bed. And what's interesting is they looked. You would stereotype them as grays, but they weren't, because each one had a different face. like personality and emotional body. And these were the beings that work with the Arcturians, the white ones more so, that are like 5 feet tall. And they were like, yeah, let's go. And I was really like hesitant. And they said, let's go see Jesus. And I was like, okay. And we walked out in the backyard, and there was a shuttle, like, a saucer there, and we got onto it, and we ascended um, to the mothership. And actually, it's interesting because I only remember certain parts of that. And when I, the next day, communicated with the channel that there was a being by the name of Sayaj, and the being I was talking to, she went by Jazz. And Sayaj was saying, because every Wednesday night she did an open channel, and when it was my turn, this was how she got clients. I basically was like, why did you guys make me forget part of that? And he was like, we didn't do that. You did that. You were a little freaked out up here. And I was like, oh. And so later, years later, I got a hypnosis done, and I remembered everything that happened up there. But what was so interesting is when they dropped me off, I was sitting on the edge of the bed with Jazz, and we were, she was saying how much she loved me, and she would come whenever I called her, and I tested that and took groups out, and that was very effective until she said, I can't come anymore. They're trying to shoot us down. But basically, I went to bed, and I had a dream over and over until I woke up that morphed into that these people picked me up in a van, took me to the warehouse, showed me the blueprints, dropped me off at home. When my foot hit the ground out of that van, I woke up going, oh, holy F, my life has just changed forever by this experience. Anyway, I thought we were going to talk about the financial system, but here we are.
Yeah, we're talking about aliens. How long ago did this happen, by the way? I think I missed that at the beginning.
1992. No, 91.
Amazing. Oh, and so for the guests here, I don't know if you really gave us a backstory on who you are, what you're about. So can you give the guests here a bit of your bio?
Okay. So I woke up in my teens to knowing that I wasn't like really from here, or that I felt like I was on a mission, and I had ESP abilities. I could hear people's thoughts, and so there's a whole like array of things that happened during my awakening, and the voices in my head were guiding me. And what was interesting is, while I was on such a spiritual path at such an early age, I felt like I had an enlightenment, self-realization rather, experience when I was probably 19 or 20. There was many of these sort of upgrades. You know what a walk-in, walk-out is. You know what that is.
Yeah, that's where another being can kind of walk in and kind of take over someone's body, but it's like it's not yours. Is it like where it's not your soul anymore? It's kind of another being comes in, but then it still has your memories.
Yeah, so that's not quite what happened. I was just using that as a basis point to talk about. I got soul braids, so I got aspects of my higher self, like from different dimensional levels, braided into me, and these were these upgrades that happened at different times. And anyway, so while all this like super accelerated wake up was happening, at the same time I was getting exposed to interesting high level computer IT stuff, because my dad invented a computer system in 1968 that was very advanced, and it runs agency stuff, and it's used in a lot of ways. It's still very significant, more significant than most systems to date. And anyway, so that had me working at the Pentagon when I was 23. And I got involved in the Defense Intelligence Agency when I was 26 as a contractor. And so my path has been very interesting in terms of the places that I've worked. And like when I went to work at the DIA, I didn't enjoy it. The energy there was same thing at the Pentagon. I was very empathic and intuitive, and I didn't like the things I was seeing and experiencing, and so I wanted out of that contract as soon as possible, frankly. And it took a while for me to get out of there, but one thing that always was happening at significant points throughout my life was the number synchronicity, and the number synchronicity of 1122 started in my teens and became like a focal point around everything that I would write about and remember from my past lives and involvement in Egypt. And I'm one of these people that believe that those pyramids are a lot older than everybody thinks, even much, much older than just 10,000 years ago, and that they were built with an alignment far beyond just the belt stars of Orion, that there's a whole gospel in the stars that communicate who we are, where we're from, and how to get back there. In a nutshell, it's a very deep rabbit hole. And so that's why I've written, to date, it's 1,300 pages in my revised, expanded, updated book material.
Oh, and I didn't know you had a book, but you have this amazing card system you created for doing a sort of like birth charts.
Yeah, well, I like the Destiny cards. The Destiny cards, I can speak about that briefly, but this is my book, The Seventh Seal. And so all these amazing things were happening to me. That's one too. I found this card system, right? The playing cards, which I've now come to understand. It's like the source code of many things. I believe it was actually before the tarot, that it was like, if you read the book Enoch, there's certain places in there where they talk about how you can become the master of your domain by working with the seasons and the rhythm of things and understanding all these things. And in that dissertation, there's some things that could be deciphered as, talking about this master system. And so the playing cards are very accurate when you look up what your playing card is, or if you follow, there's an app. Robert Camp actually brought this material into written form. He was chosen by the Magi Order to do that because they indicated he was like the grand papa of the order before, and that it was his job to bring it out. And it was only transmitted orally, before that. And so you do have the Magi talking about in certain, lost scripture and fragments of visions of the past that were keepers of these different oral traditions. And there's even, things I write about in my book, research I've done around, the lost book of numbers and all this kind of stuff. And so my book really takes things to another level of analyzing light code and the gematria of how the English language was actually crafted with hidden messages, from Sir Francis Bacon, understanding who he was in a past life, and he faked his death and became Saint Germain. And so when he was tasked with editing the Bible by King James for a year, he encoded it. And so there's many things that I've unraveled that I write about. And so coming back to, the financial stuff, so I'm dancing back and forth between being this spiritual guy that's waking up and, realizing what's going on in the world. And, even in my 20s, I'm like, oh, this credit system, this is all BS. You can go bankrupt and they just write it off. And, I was just like downloading the things that many people have become aware of today, like, oh, it's all corrupt. It's, it's just a real mess. And anyway, so those kind of that openness, I guess. I did have an experience where some people pulled me off the road in my neighborhood into their house and told me about the kinds of things that I'm doing today. When I was 25, they were like, they didn't say you're going to be involved with. They were just like downloading me with a key understanding of certain things like trading platforms and, the elders and the trillions and the, the people behind the scenes that control these trusts. And they were just like, like spewing all this stuff at me. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it'd be great to have like 100 million to do a project, but how, and they didn't say they were going to do anything for me. They just like blasted me with all this information and then showed me the front door. And all these years later, when I was in my 40s, actually ended up being introduced to the guy that was running the gold into the banks for the Chinese elders. There was these leases that were created with the gold and the central bank to underwrite the currency. And I met that guy that was doing those operations. And, I ended up just, meeting really incredible people that were just sort of divinely synchronized into my life. And, 7 years after meeting that guy, I actually left my career in computing. This was around 1999, 2000, and I moved to Hollywood because I wanted to tell spiritual stories and make all my content into movies. And I had a psychic tell me, "Oh yeah, I see this happening. You're working with the biggest producers, and there's all these zeros around you." And I didn't know about the financial system stuff then. And I was like, before that, I was going to move to Sedona and make a healing center, which is what we're doing now. But, I literally was like, okay. So I moved to Hollywood. Actually, it was synchronized that I got pulled to Hollywood by somebody that I met that I couldn't ignore. It was like a past life connection. And I found myself working at Synchronicity Network. And, back in 1999, I was meeting producers and actors, and I was like telling them that I was going to do media that was going to awaken people, and they thought I was crazy. They're like, this is way before What's the Bleep and way before What Dreams May Come and any of these films that had any spiritual messaging. And this all led to me getting involved in the financial system because I was like, spirit, come on, these people are closing the door on me. Where do I get $100 million to just make this, trilogy that I wanted to make about opening the Hall of Records? And what ended up happening is, the synchronicity. I was in a meeting with these producers that were, what was it again? Star Search. Old Star Search producers telling them, "Oh yeah, look at this list of things. I've got an SBLC here. I've got a CD. And I'm using all these bank acronyms. I got 500 AM right here. We just have to, connect the dots and monetize this." And they're like, "You need to meet this friend of ours. He talks the same like bank code as you." And I got introduced to this gentleman and met him in person, and we really had a deep resonant connection. And he ends up basically saying, we're part of the new system, the new banking system, and we're all spiritual, and we really love your stories, and we want you to make those movies. And basically, after a couple of weeks of knowing them, they ended up inviting me in and bringing me under their wing and teaching me all about trades. One of the guys was a master trader, and just a lot of like down the rabbit hole with high level banking stuff that we ended up having all kinds of agency protection. And I was actually getting briefed with a lot of high level, like higher than the president, that'd be level 17, classified information. And I was getting like level 35, which is upwards of cosmic clearance. Anyway, so yeah, I've been like falling down these rabbit holes a lot during these decades. And so there's many stories of all different kinds of interesting content that has brought me here today, and so we continue to work with a lot of players that are aligned for positive outcome, and so I'm kind of a pretty interesting character that's working behind the scenes that hasn't really come out too much. We did come out with this thing called Deep Disclosure. Maybe some people have followed that, and we were, doing some what disclosing of things that were happening behind the scenes, but we were often very limited about what we can actually say, because some of these operations are happening in real time, and we wouldn't want to sort of bring any negative light. Like, for example, just yesterday I was talking with the gentleman that is one of the heads of recovering the children out of the tunnel, and we have two partners that talk to that gentleman, like they've been longtime friends. So around the horn, we have many high-level relationships. The generals that are planning things behind the scene, and the other partners that are building, acquiring banks and building, we have a crypto platform, and we have all kinds of things that again, there's many depths of detail that could be covered, but so I'm right on the leading edge of who's who in the zoo, so to speak.
Yeah, wow, you have quite the background there. So and I know what you mean when you say these certain operations can get messed up when you disclose them, because I know that from what I've heard, that happened a lot in the months leading up to the election, and it caused some major issues from what I've heard.
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure being put on. It's, again, I wonder how much I should reveal. I know a lot about many things that happen in terms of even some things that it's interesting. There's been a struggle with people, like, how much do we reveal? A lot of people are finding out more and more, right, about how sort of horrific things are. About how like the trafficking of the children, and what that really means, and what goes on behind the scenes, and the level of atrocity, is so nefarious, and it's almost like there's been a debate about, how much do these people reveal? Do they reveal the whole truth of, the kinds of people that are in high places, that are faces that you see right on TV all the time, and how, well, I guess evil. Even though, when you're a spiritual person, you're like, oh, it's all God, it's all one, and we all agree here to have an experience. We're all choosing service to others versus service to self, and there's many things that can be said about spiritual beliefs that say, it's all love and light, but it's not. There's kids being killed, and we're talking about, we just had a conversation about med beds. These kids come out and they're put into these med beds, which help them to release the trauma. So there's different kinds of med beds, right? There's the type that will grow back a limb. There's the type that will, heal anything and reverse your aging. There's also a type that will, if you want to learn a language, you can learn it in 30 minutes and be, proficient. And
Oh,
so,
wow, that would be amazing.
so that type is used on these kids to erase the negative experiences and to put in positive experiences. And but then when they come out of that, they still have to get processed back through the system, either into foster care or detention centers, and so anyway, we're talking about what we can do to, to provide a greater solution that would
The whole
integrate.
foster care adoption system is so messed up. So
Yep.
that's
So
yeah.
it's sad to come out of something and go, not have a place to go. So we're working on a place to
Do you
go.
think a lot of these kids were actually like missing children and no one knows what their name is or anything now, so they don't know how to get them back to their parents?
Could be, there's been cases of that. There's, even remember the Montauk project, there was a lot of missing kids that went into that. I'm sure you might have done research on that in all of your extensive research. Um, so yeah, it's a variety of things, but no, we don't need bigger cages at the south of the border. That is not a solution.
Definitely, I agree. So getting back to the financial system, what exactly have you been working with? What's this project you're working on? I know you probably can't reveal everything with it, but I would like to hear what you can reveal. This is a system that you say could possibly take over the current financial system.
Yeah. So there's a lot of transition happening. There's a lot of people that are believing that there's a quantum financial system coming. A lot of talk about it. You know, uh, Even talk it's going to be turned on like Tuesday or on the 15th, and it never happens. And that's largely because when we talk to the people that really have the technology or the people in the know about what's really going on, they're indicating that no, that's not really happening. And then we point to the things that we're doing, and there's a lot happening right now in banking that is messed up. We have friends that are trying to move even as little as 10 million, and these banksters are interfering, and there's other talk about banks that are being closed. Lots of big change coming. These trading platforms, a lot of times they were used to get money for not what they were intended. Trading platforms are supposed to fund projects and do humanitarian things, and a lot of these oppositional forces would get involved and use that money for black ops and stuff. And so there are efforts to shut down those trading platforms, and efforts to um, interrupt these banks that are funding these bad things. And so we're involved. We have people that are involved that are doing things to mitigate that and to implement better solutions. And we have a lot of better solutions that are right on the brink of being complete. And we have other operations going on that are acquiring banks, that'll be part of this good system, this new system. um, there's a lot going on out there with talks of gold being taken from the Vatican that would be used to back a new uh, U.S. currency. I know people that are working on trying to do a new USD stable coin that's backed by gold. So I find myself in the middle of these things all the time, and what we do is we create a bridge for everybody to work together. That's kind
Uh,
of
can I just pause this for so why would the Vatican need so much gold? I always wonder that. It's like, okay, it doesn't seem to me like they're giving this gold away to the poor. It's like they're just hoarding all this money, and it's like, why? Why is that necessary? Does like God need gold hoarded somewhere? Like, can you explain that to me? Because I don't understand that.
so. It doesn't really belong to them. It really is like from these other trusts that we're a part of. That they ended up absconding with and controlling. And but what I might want to say is Again, not to be too grotesque, but when they're not getting the thing that they want to consume, you guys know that word, right? You know that's when they eat the certain stuff, it stimulates. Um,
The A word.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I know we're trying to like not get shut down
Yeah.
with it with our communication. Um,
Exactly.
um, they eat gold when they don't get to eat these other things.
Like what's it called? Monoatomic gold.
Yeah, well, that's a healthy thing to eat, but actually, no, they don't even have to do that. They can eat it just as it is. Um, and there's something in it that does something for them. And anyway, yeah, so they're licking their lips about those cages down there.
Interesting.
So yeah, we live in a very bizarre world, where things are a lot, not always as they appear. And so, when this didn't exactly happen with Trump, and I could tell you exactly why, and I can also tell you there's still an effort to make something happen. I think it was a good wake up call for people, because for the takeaways should be, even with the masks and all of it, um, we don't believe in all that, right? So what we believe in, and again, to choose words carefully, is the empowerment of the self. And, at a local level, for people to wake up and, have their self realization, or their activation into higher consciousness, because it's really not going to ever be one man that saves us. We tried that story, haven't we? And so it's always been about a group, and a group of people that, embody their best version of themselves, and they get out there and they do something about it. And you don't be complacent and just sit by and go, well, I can't do anything. No, it's up to all of us. And then,
Definitely. I think that's really what the Age of Aquarius is all about, is us coming into our own divinity, and really um, looking for this source within ourselves instead of this external source of, empowerment. And I'm really noticing that's becoming a common topic on a lot of my shows. So it's interesting.
so it's like these things always backfire. Facebook was created to learn everything about everybody, right? And then they would be able to, you know, use that information against us. Well, obviously, the positive thing there is, well, yeah, but everybody gets connected and shares information. And so obviously, there's an attempt to kind of curve that, as we've seen. And that's why, Trump is saying, and what he's doing with the social media push, is so that we can have the truth, and ready us for, having everybody take more action. And so multiple efforts have been attempted in order to, you know things like 9/11, right? Okay, that was designed to put everybody into fear. And a lot of people went into fear, and people that were on a spiritual path, they knew better, and they knew that it was what it was. And it's taken a long time for it to come out, more and more people believe in what it actually was. But there's a variety of times where they've tried to disempower. And another one is this whole thing about you know the RV, right? There's a lot of people thinking that the jubilee is happening and the global reset, and if you just buy $10,000 worth of this currency, all of a sudden you're going to have 10 million. When I first came out with the deep disclosure, that was one of the most important messages that I wanted to deliver, because we knew that that was a black op, just like another one that was conducted a decade before, where they had people, sitting on the couch just waiting for their money instead of becoming active for change themselves. Um, it worked so well the first time when everybody was waiting around for the white dove and the white knights and all these updates about, and that also included Nasera at that time, and it was going to be everybody's saving grace, and so just sit tight. You don't have to do anything. Just wait. Your money's coming. And so you have a whole bunch of people, nearly a million of the light workers that got involved with this currency reval situation, and they're still waiting. And every week they say it's going to be done for 9 years. And we knew that that was an operation that was designed to pacify.
But right now it's a little different at this current time because there's like the law would just start in as far as there has to be an insurrection in the country for it to happen, correct?
Um, yeah, but what I'm telling you is a lot of that origin, while it's a good idea, it was the kind of thing that the opposition would take and use as the sugar lace around the poison, you know. So they want you to embrace the World Bank and the IMF as, the good guy. And what they are really intended to do is devalue the US dollar. And, so all of their stuff that they tell us is like, about Agenda 21, right? Like, oh, you're not going to own anything, and everything's provided and taken care of, and more of that socialist kind of mentality. On the outside it sounds kind of nice. I'll be taken care of, but on the inside, it's like you're just giving away all your freedom. And so, a lot of the things that they're trying to get us to co-sign are not good.
So, is there enough gold in the world for there to be a gold backed currency that everyone would be able to use? Because I know that's something that comes up a lot in those conversations. So,
Yeah, there's a lot more gold than people could possibly fathom. I would say that uh, I don't know if I should quote the exact number, but it's there's off-world relationships that gold has come and gone. There's mountains full of it. The Chinese elders have. There's um, a lot in the ground, that were involved in different operations with mining, and I have a background in mining too. So like, there's a heck of a lot more gold than people realize, and that's a controlled market, because if it did get out, then it would devalue, right? It would be like, it's not a scarcity item, so they control how much is allowed to be released, and we don't want to crash, the value of gold either.
you keep mentioning these Chinese elders. Are they not a part of the CCP, correct? Or
No, they're not. No, they're not.
is this like kind of like a society, or I haven't really heard of them before, so I'm
Sure,
curious.
there's different talk about the White Dragon and these different dragons and societies and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, there are a lot of factions of elders out in the east, that string the dragon is like a from head to toe, all up and down the east. And these royal families, they definitely control wealth. And if you think of it, not that there just might be like Anunnaki gold and stuff like that, but China was an uninterrupted civilization for thousands of years, trading gold along the Silk Road. So sure, they've clearly easily amassed a lot because of that. But um, the elders themselves, in many cases, they're not entirely human because of how old they are. There's a couple reasons that they're old. They also have things that they consume that give them life extension. But it's also because in a lot of cases, they're not entirely human.
How old are they? Are you saying like over like 100 years old? Like very, very old?
Very, 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 very old. You have different kinds of old. You have 1,000-year old and even older.
Wow, that is very interesting.
You have, some elders are hundreds of years old, yes, but there are the really old ones that control, some of these assets behind the scenes. And again, I know a lot of detail about all this stuff, and as it's more um, like when we have platforms and certain progress, that it signals that it's time to be able to reveal more, we will. Hmm.
Hmm.
But yeah, these are the kinds of things that I've been exposed to for decades.
So when do you think this gold-backed crypto can be released? I mean, is this you're in the process of bringing this out right now?
Pretty soon, we've been building a lot of things to have that platform be complete, and basically, I think that there's a lot of other efforts going on, and again, it's trying to have everybody point in the same direction, and be the solution together. Um, as I've indicated, but we definitely have this very deep source of gold to do the kinds of things that we have planned. Hmm. The signatories are part of our team. Hmm.
Interesting. So, what do you think? What would happen once this is implemented? I mean, what would the world look like? I mean, how much would this change society as it is right now?
Um, well, I think that everything needs to be done in a stair step fashion. You know, just like when we imagined that we could have free energy, or cars that don't run on the same fuel sources and the like. Uh, yeah, sure, we can have synthetic oil and the like, but it's sort of like um, I don't think any one sector of industry is going to be turned off completely or immediately. It'll be a process to, ease into, and we're already seeing it. We're seeing more electric cars and the like, but you still have friction and pistons, for example. So, everything that we do, we imagine that it's going to take, a few years to implement. But obviously, there's been a lot of progress in everything, right? I mean, to imagine now that we have med beds coming out. We have three sources of them that, and a couple here in America, that are getting them, and we even have one coming into Scottsdale, Arizona, and
Wow.
we're planning on having some in Sedona here at our healing facility. But yeah, we're very happy with the amount of super advanced technology that's now starting to make its way more and more. Because as you know, if you probably have heard stories of people or known people that had a carburetor that gave you 100 miles per gallon, right? or or whatever, let's say some number that was astronomical to what we were experiencing. Those were either bought and shelved, or the people were killed.
Mm.
And so a lot of these inventors were afraid to come out. And we had many amazing technologies brought to us to be funded, and this was a concern of those people, right? Um, so more and more as we have people that work with us that read, spiritually when the right time is. We have, different kinds of gauges about when things should be done, and we just we follow our heart. We don't have all the answers, but we continue to be given the tools, and so we are very, very happy with the way things are going, with a variety of things that are going to change the way that we experience reality.
Would this currency, since it's crypto, would it be on an app and be exchanged via an app, or how do you see
Hmm.
that happening?
Yeah, well, part of our plan is, in fact, an app that'll be an educational app, and that app will give you an opportunity to, like these kids coming out of these tunnels that I talked about. Like, what if they could, interface back into society by, given an opportunity to learn what they want to learn, and incentivized when they level up, they get some coin, and that coin, is a real spendable, token or coin, and if they chose door number 3, which might be the spiritual path, like, awakening your consciousness, and developing your psychic abilities, and the like of, we all have superhero powers. We just have to awaken them. And so, what if, we could be rewarded for choosing that path? You get more, each time you level up, your phone goes cha-ching, but you get whatever, 100 points for that door, versus 50 on the other. That's what we want to do. We want to encourage people to become, more aware of, your thoughts create your reality. And so that is the plan, that the ecosystem, right? I mean, right now, Bitcoin, if it's becoming more and more embraced, of course, by a lot of these, big companies, Square and PayPal, and you even have BlackRock looking at getting some. Tesla, bless you, Tesla got some, and so that's kind of, really indicating that that advent is here, that we're here to stay with cryptos because of what's happening. But the thing about Bitcoin is you can only like process like 10 transactions per second, and what we're doing, we're processing like 80,000 per second. And so, in order to be a global solution, Visa processes 47,000 transactions per second, and it is a global solution. And so there's many, many companies and tech efforts to be a global solution. And again, we keep finding solutions that are complementary, or we don't need to recreate the wheel. And so, in the effort to make a true, well, I call it a global solution. Um, it has to be able to handle the kind of volume. It has to be secure. It has to be. Um, so, we're also involved in a super advanced smartphone, that has higher levels of encryption, and uses low frequency, because 5G is high frequency, and it's not. Obviously, it is harmful. We have technologies that are more secure and more healthy, that we're involved in, taken to the next level for implementation. And those things have progressed very well. We have countries, interested in doing that, that are signing, up to be beta testers. And anyway, so again, there's a real plethora of incredible technologies that are going to put us in a Star Trek like reality.
My presentation that I've given at a lot of conferences in the past, which I'll be doing my own version for our next conference coming up that I'll be involved in with you. But Solutions for Humanity, really, I laid out all these different aspects of society, like what we could be doing differently, and and to me, it was like something I always wondered is like, it's such a process to break down these old systems. So how do we go about it? Is it like we completely get rid of the old systems before we can transition to the new ones? Or, how is that going to work? Like, is there going to be a certain, you know, some people are just going to kind of start doing something differently and everyone starts moving into that? Or
Yeah, I think it's more
what are
like
your
that.
thoughts on that?
I think it's more like that. My feeling has always been like, build the new system, they will come. Stop fighting the old system. It's destroying itself. It's falling apart. When you have a new light city, a 5D like super green smart city that is not part of Agenda 21, but is like filled with amazing, healthy, high vibe, blah blah blah. Wouldn't you rather like move from downtown LA and live in this kind of a place? So once these things are available, people are going to transition into them. Because I want to be with like-minded individuals. I want to, all these kinds of things that would encourage people to participate in the golden age. We want to bring about this golden age of consciousness and abundance. And so, yeah, all we have to do is, be the new.
Amazing. So another question I had about the crypto app is, or the Goldback crypto is, how will it have like a sort of inflation? Like, is it possible that it will grow? Like, like with Bitcoin, it's like one Bitcoin at one time it was like 3,000, and then this year it became like 50,000. Do you see this crypto
Well,
being similar to that?
obviously there's a problem with the volatility. Again, if you're going to be a merchant and you want to, cash out at the end of the day, and all of a sudden Bitcoin went down $2,000, you wouldn't be a very happy merchant, would you? So, the solution is that there's multiple coins for multiple things. Like they just came out with that NFT coin. You know about that? The non-fungible token. That is, you can apply your artwork to it, and a piece of this art was sold for like, I forget the exact number, something in the realm of $67 million for like some pixel art.
Oh,
And
I heard
so,
about that. That's only with digital art, right? It's
but
only
it
with
is,
like
but
digital graphic photos.
but precisely it's attached to a token, and a digital token that's on a blockchain. And so the sky's the limit. Ever the more so, there will be all kinds of different types of blockchains and tokens doing all sorts of things. But the idea is to have one global standard gold coin that's pegged to, whether it's a basket of currency, I'm sorry, a basket of reserves. The effort that we did, that we're continuing to put the finishing touches on, is a thing called the Gaia, GaiaPay.io. And Gaia, those tokens are all about, like, imagine if you had a bunch of trees that were not being cut down, but the value could be used to help kids in a country, that you could monetize a natural resource without taking it out of the ground. You understand? So like, um, there are alternatives that all these coins can represent, but there should be a central. Right now we have the central bank system that's doing the well, we have a lot of things that don't really work so well anymore. But for a while, that the Federal Reserve was controlling inflation and all this kind of stuff, and manipulating it, quite frankly. But so we want a decentralized system that have certain kinds of standards in place that help guide everything. And so I think there will always be a market for a variety of different kinds of coins that could be for trading, and we do have bots and things that we're also implementing, that like forex and crypto trading that can help to bring abundance. So there's a lot of things that we're doing that we want to bring abundance, but what we don't really want to do though is just imagine if everybody became a millionaire. Would you be going to work tomorrow? You want to go out to dinner. There's nobody helping you. There's no one cooking. Like, if everybody became a jubilee millionaire overnight, it'd be kind of chaotic. And so, the belief is that there should be a meritocracy where have doorways to, become more abundant, and yet it's merit based. And so,
So
there's
it's
all
kind of
these.
like a bartering society in a way.
Yeah, that's another interesting mention, because there's a lot of that kind of stuff happening as well. That's the way it used to be. There's nothing wrong with kind of going back to the fair exchange of valuable consideration, right?
I agree. I love the idea of a bartering society because like in that type of society, if we moved more towards that, it's like it'd be more about like the most respected person in that kind of society would be the kind of person who really helps their community the most. So it really makes everything more community oriented. But then at the same time, I also think the idea of, people should be able to work extra to have luxury if they choose to. So, I think it's kind of a mix of both of these things that will really be amazing.
So what we're going to do in our virtual summit, we're going to have a panel, and we're going to be talking, an insider panel, so to speak, with, some insights, and then, another panel like the New Thought, leaders for the New Earth, and we're going to, be kind of commiserating on, what it could be, because the more so towards where are we at now, where do we want to be, and how do we get there? Solution-based action is, the movement that we wish to invigorate. We're also developing a database that you can become part of, and that, it respects your privacy, but what it does is it offers that you can find out all the things that you're looking for. So just imagine for a minute, Facebook or Google, the likes of them. Like, I cut my finger, ouch, where's the Band-Aid? And my phone's listening, and next time I open my phone, here's the cheapest Band-Aid. How come it's not helping us instead? Like, oh, I need $1 million to save these kids in Africa. I want my phone to go, here you go. And so, and so all these things are possible, and we are bearing all these types of things in mind as we build these things. But basically creating I started this thing called Saint, spiritually aligned intentional networking teams, like a couple decades ago. The name and the movement came to me, and I think that we're going to use that website to start this you know project of the database of skills and stuff. And frankly, when Trump went into office and he wanted to fix jobs, I was like, get me on the phone with him, because we can fix that right now. All you have to do is, again, it's technology used appropriately. All you have to do is, where everybody's going down for food stamps or on welfare, if there was a database of your skills, everybody, had to participate. Either, you could use this app to get more education, or whatever the case was. If you're in this master database, and now you bump that up against these Indeed and Monster and Dice and whatever, right, places where people are looking for a job, we could push to your phone, like, particularly if you set in your parameters, I'm willing to go to Africa for a job or whatever, in an instant. Literally, you could be, oh, I'm willing to relocate. You got a job tomorrow. So we could have implemented that really easily, because the system that my father invented, that I worked with all these years programming, big systems that have second response time. It's very simple.
That would definitely be really amazing. And it's like that just goes to show you it'd be like so easy to implement these different things in society, and that just goes to show that, you know, the system doesn't want to work for us.
Correct.
And I think the main solution here is getting this sort of cabal's foot off our necks. And to me that always seems like the biggest hurdle when it comes to like all these changes that really need to be made to really kind of move society in the right direction.
Yeah, and we're implementing another system that's going to go in at a county level, and it could end up being a voting system. It has the potential, because we also have a card like you would have. Why don't we have a voter's card, and it's like a credit card, and with a magnetic strip, and when you swipe it, your vote is instantly tallied. We don't have to wait days for the result. All these things that we're talking about in this modern information technology age are not being deployed the way that they should. But if we had well, there is, and it could be adopted, but we are looking at activating this system that was tested on California, and what it revealed was a lot of the people, like 65% of the ones that are in office, are there illegally. They weren't in the county living as long as they were supposed to, or they weren't a citizen as long as they were supposed to. And so, if we implemented something like this countywide, right? We could petition these people out of office, and once we have a system like that working, then it would be very easy to say we're going to use the same system for our new voting solution.
Amazing. And I'm actually working with this committee called the Free and Equal Elections Community, where they've actually started a blockchain voting system that is actually, they already started using it for the past election. They tested it out.
Nice.
And it was for any party that could run on an equal platform. So it was like any representative from any party could be on the app and everyone could vote on it. So
you should introduce me. Maybe there's a
yeah,
collaboration.
That would be really cool. Maybe I could do a show with you and Christina, and we could kind of have a group roundtable type discussion on all of this. That'd be interesting.
Sure.
So I just want to thank Sylvan Forchair for the super sticker. Thanks so much. Any donations here are helping me build my studio. It's still in the process. Like I said, I had to switch studios in the same building, so it's going to be another week now, but still some more gear I need to get for that, so much appreciated.
I don't see that, but thank you. Yeah, I want to support you as well. So yeah, we need more voices of truth, and we have a lot of aspiration to do great things and have a super truth network. We're also involved in a global broadcasting system that has 8K, 16K streaming. And we have like the progenitor of that has 10,000 channels. And so we recently got involved in one of those, basically a deposit to have access to one of those channels. And we want to do a super truther network that has all this high consciousness stuff. And, we should probably collaborate further at that time with how well you do your persona in this arena.
Yeah, that would be really incredible. There's a lot of projects that I've been introduced to lately in regards to different shows coming up. But what's interesting is with this censorship, it's really caused people in our community to kind of come together and be like, okay, well, why don't we make platforms where we can actually share our voices without being censored? So it's really interesting, and I think a lot of interesting networks are going to come out of that. Definitely.
Yeah, so it's really exciting. Again, talking about things that sort of backfire. I think that people are frustrated with this whole mask thing, and it's causing them to also want to take action. I know where we live, there's a lot of people that want to stand up for change. So the variety of things that have been attempted, they always have some unforeseen like backfire, like motivating people or revealing technology that can be used for other purposes.
Is there a no mask mandate? Is the masks are still mandated in Arizona?
Right? No, it's recommended. Our governor dropped it down, and so it's store by store. And like Whole Foods, you can have them take your temperature and go in without a mask. But
man, I wish it was like that here.
a lot of the restaurants are starting to go maskless, but it's a choice, of course. So it's interesting. You have a mixed bag of people. But what a divisive thing. Look at how this has turned people against each other too. Like, oh, you're an unmasker.
Yeah, the shot agenda is what's really freaking me out living here in LA right now, because they're talking about these passports, and I'm like, oh man.
They just implemented it in New York. I heard my daughter lived a long time there, and people said that it's been passed over there.
Yeah, it's scary because to me it's like, okay, that's just the beginning of it. I mean, who knows, you know, it's like the more like everyone allows their freedoms to be taken away, the worse it's gonna get. And it's like the people that are all like with it, it's like you're like shooting yourself in the face. What are you doing? Stop doing that. Stop saying this is okay. It's not okay.
So true. Interesting times we live in. Isn't that a Chinese proverb?
I'm not sure if that's a Chinese proverb, but is it?
Yeah,
Interesting times we live in? That is?
something like that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, my dad told me about it. Um, so, how much time do we have?
We've been going for an hour here, so I don't know if you wanted to kind of like start wrapping things up. I mean, I usually go for about an hour.
Yeah. Well, what I wanted to say is, because there's so many topics that can be covered, I would happily, be a guest anytime, and be able to share more and more as things become evident that that's okay. And
That'd be great. Yeah, like I'd probably have a space for you at least like once a month.
Nice. And if people want to check out my activation tools and technologies, you can go to my I have an Etsy site, and all of it is off of a site called stargatecodes.com. It leads out to all of my various sites. But these tools, like I just made this one, this is just hot off the press. This one here, when you put it between your palms like this, it drops you into like a meditation, like immediately. It's very, very calming. And, other things that people do with these, like they sit on these activators or they sleep with them. Like if you sleep with them, hold on to your hat. You're going to have like these lucid, vivid dreams. I mean, even this alone, if I sat on that little symbol right there, it starts to accelerate for those that know what Kundalini is, the energy that wants to move up from the base, wants to clear out and open up all these centers and move to the top of the head. The reason I call it the seventh seal is because it's really all about opening this crown chakra. And the crown chakra, when you're online with your whole system, you're able to, there's some background noise, your higher self can come into your body and can guide you more, and you become more of a multidimensional being.
Someone here says, do you have a YouTube channel that he can subscribe to?
Oh yeah, I have 46 videos out there right now, and a lot of them are on this topic of the seventh seal. One is Matheus Imhotep, if you say /, or if you just search in Google for seventh seal, Matheus, Mathues, you'll find the books for sale. And also, if you're interested in these rabbit holes of all this fringe topic, deepdisclosure.com, there's the podcast archive and updates of things that are going on there.
Amazing. I know one time you put the seventh seal over my head, and I definitely felt a shift in my energy at the the seventh seal conference. That was really interesting. And your Etsy site for that, what was that called again?
It's seventh seal activate. So /shop, seventh seal activate. But again, if you go to stargatecodes.com, it leads off there. By one last thing, by the way, we had to cancel our last conference that we were going to do because of COVID, but we had this guy from Mexico that was coming. You guys have been, I created a video. If you want to check it out, there's a video about these new relics that have been found in Mexico. Have you heard about these ones that have Egyptian and right side by side with the Mayans and the ETs? Have you seen these yet?
No way.
Oh man, yeah,
it's incredible. Mexico?
Yeah, so they're finding these tablets that have a never before seen language, and they have very the visual proof of like portals and stargates and spaceships in the sky. It's incredible. So one of our associates is connected with this, like it was a mining operation, and they stumbled into this, treasure trove, and there's like 1,000 tablets
And this just
and
happened recently,
no,
or
a couple years ago, but it's been coming out, and
wait, are these the gray stone tablets with the white engravings in them? Am I thinking the right thing? Oh,
yes.
okay, I have seen those.
Okay,
I didn't know they were from New Mexico.
I meant to say Mexico. Did
Oh,
I say
Mexico. Okay, I thought you said New Mexico.
Okay, so
I know what you're talking about. Then. Yeah, those are very interesting.
Well, and there's a stash of that haven't been released yet that I'm combing through right now.
And they have Egyptian.
Yeah.
On them? Wow.
And I made a video that shows some of the best ones, out of the first batch, which was like 500 that I was looking at, and I found some startling things also that, gosh, almost confirms that this is either off planet or far more ancient as a symbol than we realize. So
you found that symbol in the tablets?
Yes.
Oh, no way.
I know, right?
Wow. That is very interesting. And then you kind of got connected with them through this person, so it's like he brought them to you before
he was
started making these.
He was. Oh, this came through a long time ago. When I was 26, and wow. I don't want to tell you how old I'm turning next month, but anyway, the guy, was bringing up some of these tablets that no one's seen yet, and they were going to be at our event. Actually, he just reached out to us, learned about our next event that's happening on the Silvergate 522. So we'll see. But I can't wait to hold it. Imagine the energy from something like that.
Definitely, that is really incredible. I'm excited for that. So so the Seven Seal conference that's coming up, that's on the 22nd of the weekend of the 22nd of this month.
So if you want to find out about both of those, 7 THSealSummit.com will give you access to the virtual summit, which I sent you your affiliate link, by the way. I hope you got that, for April 22nd, but the physical one is May 22nd.
I will definitely be at both of those, and I'm excited. I need to get my presentation recorded. Probably do that either this week or the beginning of next week. So I'm excited to do my new version of Solutions for Humanity. So anyone that wants to join, make sure you check that out.
Each of those is a couple days around the date. It's like a multiple day event, but I'm just, highlighting the 22nd. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Well, did you have any more final words, or is that about it?
Well, I think that I would encourage people to, stay positive and, really tune in and know that, we're all, much more significant than we realize. We're capable of so much more than we give ourselves credit for, and all the things that we're doing is about empowering, each and every one of us to become, the avatar or avatara, as I like to say, the agents of positive change. And so, love to everybody.
Amazing. It was so great to have you on here. I definitely want to have you on as a guest again in the future. I know you have a lot of information, and it's great having you on. I could have talked forever. I'm actually been having some feedback this whole time, so it's kind of confusing for me when I'm talking. I don't know what the deal with that was, but because I don't have my Ethernet cable plugged in. So sorry if I seem a little off, everyone, today. It's like a little feedback here. But so I have 2 more spears left of the Pantheon collection. I actually have one extra one with the Pantheon collection that I'm working on. But the Odyssey collection is coming soon, so make sure you get these before they all sell out. These 2 are brown. For some reason, I guess people don't like brown very much. They're both Tiger's Eye Organite. For some reason, it was only the 2 brown ones are the only ones I have left. But these ones are really cool. I feel like these ones are kind of like grounding, like earth inspired. So I have these two left of this collection, and then the Odyssey collection is going to be coming out soon. So if you want to help fund all my operations and everything I'm doing here, make sure you go check out www.shamanspears.com. And I have some really cool seals that are, or it's funny, I call it a seal. They're scrolls that kind of talk about what it means to have one. And it's kind of a secret what it says until you get one. So also they make great gifts. So make sure you check that out. So thanks everyone for being here, and I think I'll be having Laura Eisenhower on Thursday at 5 p.m. and then I'll be back in the new studio the following week. It's looking like. So thanks so
Excellent.
much, everyone. It's great to have you all here. Oh, sorry.
Well, I can't wait to see the new studio. Maybe I can come and do it in person sometime. That'd be super cool.
That would be much better. I actually created the studio for in-person interviews, but most people don't live in LA, so I kind of was realizing I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to just do all this like I normally do anyway. It's looking like, but if you ever want to come in, I have a whole interview kind of set up, so it'd be very cool. Definitely.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, dear heart. We'll
Thanks for being here.
Connect more soon. Okay.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Take care.
All right. Thanks for being here, everyone. Until next time on Apollo's Odyssey. Over and out.
Okay.